The next program to be presented is from the U.S. Department of Defense, Robert Molina, the Executive Director of Procurement, and May DeVincentis. Am I correct in that pronunciation? Yes, Please proceed.
Good morning. The Defense Personnel Support Center in Philadelphia is one of 5 supply centers within the Defense Logistics Agency. It is a $3.5 billion business providing all food, clothing, and medical supplies for the armed services worldwide. In addition to being the combat logistician to the armed forces, the agency is also the front line of support for national domestic emergencies, such as Hurricane Andrew and the Midwest floods of 1994, as well as international relief, having provided support in Bosnia, Haiti, and Cuba. Historically, we bought for our customers, storing huge inventories of unique items produced to stringent military specifications, which often described a commercial item. Witness our 700-page specification for a chocolate chip cookie, and redundantly awarding contracts to the low bidder, often the lowest quality producer. In 1986, 40% of everything we bought was not what our customer wanted. Customer confidence was practically non-existent. National defense readiness depended on holding massive, expensive inventories of rapidly obsolescing items. Our primary goal was to dramatically improve customer satisfaction. We embarked on one of the most comprehensive reengineering efforts in government or industry, radically redesigning our business practices, our relationships, our trading partner relationships, both with our vendors and our customers, our organization, our jobs, and ultimately our very culture. Central to the reengineering of the business practices was the buying of commercial products to the maximum extent possible, the adoption of commercial business practices, and the application of electronic data interchange to all of our business practices. DPSC is now recognized as a national leader in EDI business systems applications.
As a result of our efforts, fundamental changes to the business of government have been put in place. These include EDI-enabled national or regional leveraged buying arrangements, which we call prime vendor, and real industry participation in national readiness with what we call shared production agreements. Both of these programs were described in our award proposals. While successful at DPSC in food, clothing, textiles, and medical supplies, they have enormous potential for other commodities within DLA, such as wood, electrical items, and even weapon systems repair parts. We want to share this information with you today, hopefully to illustrate the comprehensive nature of these programs and their broader potential, including replicability, novelty, absolute significance and value to all governments, including federal agencies, state and local authorities. When our original proposals were written, we described the successful deployment of a prime vendor program in our medical business. Prime vendor is an adaptation of a best industry practice of buying and distributing consumable products. Customers comparatively shop an electronic catalog, choose the item of their choice, receive confirmation of that order within minutes, and routinely receive the product within 24 hours.
We also describe shared production as deployed in our clothing business. Shared production is an innovative business practice pioneered by DPSC, which enables government to assure national defense readiness without holding massive, expensive inventories. We work with the manufacturer and one or more of its commercial clients. The parties agree to share production capacity during peacetime, maintaining cross-product manufacturing capability and expertise. The parties agree to relinquish production capacity as either trading partner may need. In our case, this means during times of war surge or national emergency, the manufacturer's full production can be readily available. A third element of our program in our clothing business was called Quick Response, is an adaptation of the successful apparel industry model used by such giants as Walmart and Sears. Quick Response is a total electronic end-to-end business system that uses electronic data interchange to move information, money, and merchandise. Actual demand data is transmitted to suppliers who adjust production accordingly and make delivery within 72 hours.
Mr. Molino has recently been reassigned to our headquarters primarily to migrate these successful business practices to the other businesses within DLA. In 1992, we opened a business counseling center, the first of its kind in government or industry, dedicated to training our trading partners, primarily small and minority businesses, in the business of EDI. We propose to utilize grant money to make available this opportunity for other federal agencies, state and local governments interested in electronic trading. We also hope to use money to help us export our successful programs within DLA.
We believe that our experiences at DPSC represent tremendous opportunities for all, enabling dramatic improvements in customer satisfaction, making the business of government simpler and more businesslike, providing smarter, faster, and cheaper public service, in our case, ensuring the national defense of this country. Thank you.
Very good. Two questions pending. David and Jack to begin with.
Mr. Molina, I wonder if you could reflect for just a moment on an issue here. It's an issue that arises in several of the submissions here. If a large multinational corporation undertook the kind of changes that you have undertaken, it would probably be regarded as a rather straightforward proposition, best business practices, and would not qualify for a Baldrige Award. Is the fact that this is taking place within government what distinguishes it? Is it the culture of government? Could you reflect just for a moment or two on that?
I think that the unique part for government is, in fact, it is breaking with the bureaucracy of how we've done business in the past. But it's comparable in the implementation of our electronic business systems. And we've benchmarked with about 24 of what are considered the national leaders in EDI business system implementation in this country. And we come out in the middle of that group. So even though it's dramatic improvement for government, it's as good as any business system application that's going on in the country today.
Jack?
You described how you've met your goal of improving customer satisfaction. What I'm less clear on is how do you, and it's clear from eliminating depots and so on that they're dramatic changes. Just say some more about cost. How do we know that we're not paying something for the satisfaction?
Actually, cost of operations have been reduced dramatically. If you take the prime vendor for medical pharmaceuticals, we've reduced the cost to the customer over 40% of what they were paying on local purchases before. Our prime vendor for food, providing commercial items, by the way, rather than specification items, has in fact reduced the cost to the troop dining facilities over 10% of what they were paying before. There have been close to $500 million worth of savings in inventory reduction so far in just the commodities that we're using right now.
And let me add also that an unanticipated benefit was that when we began to close a lot of the retail level or customer level warehouses and storage spaces, those hospitals, those camps, those stations were able to take those folks, those spaces for employees that worked in those warehouses and employ those people in different jobs, actually on the nursing floor or where they really needed people rather than in warehouses.
Dot first and then Barbara.
Well, I really had a lighthearted question, except sometimes reality, I guess, is more horrifying than even the stories. I had such a hard struggle imagining 700 pages of specifications for a chocolate chip cookie. Do you still, in a case of a chocolate, that's a serious question, what do you do for chocolate chip cookies now?
We have electronic catalogs that provide choices of various types of commercial chocolate chip cookies, and the customer picks which one they want.
Thank you.
There's still specifications that are military unique, obviously, for products that have no commercial application, but we've worked very hard to get the number of military specs down to just those items where it's absolutely necessary.
Right. You still have specifications for cookies. How long is that?
No, we have a commercial description. We buy commercial products, straight commercial products.
Barbara?
What did you do with all the obsolete inventory that was in the warehouses that you closed, the uniforms that were outdated, where did they go?
A lot of them were drawn down by the customers before we switched them over, and then they're sent to our reutilization service and sold, basically, as surplus property.
What does that mean? Could you put that in English?
It's surplus property. It's sold as surplus property.
Okay.
Tom?
You mean there are no more military cookies available?
I'm sorry.
I can't get an Army cookie. I'm shocked.
Mrs. Fields now, Tom.
Thank you.
Margot?
I was intrigued at reading, and I'm not sure exactly where in the materials, that you are now doing work for other government agencies such as USDA because your system is more efficient than theirs?
Yes, that's part of the answer, and I think one of the questions that you're probably getting at is why would you be providing your product, your electronic catalogs to other services? We were faced with the downsizing, and especially after Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, faced with two problems: reducing your peacetime operating costs. And if all that we had to do, while that's painful, it's very doable. But we still had the dual mission of national defense readiness, being able to surge quickly to national defense quantities when we needed to, or national emergencies. So what we were trying to do was spread out our peacetime operating costs with more customers, therefore making it less expensive during peacetime, but maintaining that full industrial capacity for national defense readiness.